All right, what's going on, my friends? Get this audio rolling. What's happening? Welcome to the beginner's room here at Real Life Trading. My name is Tony Pollock. I am, as always, super honored, excited to be here with you today. Let's get diving into these markets. I know people still jumping into this room here, so give it just a second. But if you're late, you late, right? You miss it. Morning, George. How are you doing? Good stuff. Jimmy, what's up? John, good morning, my friend. I'm doing good. Yeah, it's been a good morning. Excited out there. Excited to see what happens here in these markets. So let's dive into it. So the SPY is having a little gap up. Get this thing going. Bam, just push up on YouTube, my friend. What's up? If you guys got some tickers, throw them at me. Let's get started with it. So SPY's having a little gap up. It's had two really big green days. And so I am expecting some sort of trap to come in and probably a push lower. I wouldn't mind it running back up to like 452 first or 453 and then that trap coming in. But today is most likely going to be a pullback. If it runs very, very bullish, I'd be a little shocked. It can do whatever it wants, but I am expecting a pullback, even though we're having a nice gap up. I do think that bears make a little bit more sense. So pre-market's been very strong. Post and pre-market's really actually trending pretty nice. And I would just love for it to push up into here today. And that's where I'd be looking for a short based off of the daily chart. So now if we go over to the Qs do the same thing here. It's still trending very nicely, holding supports extremely well. I'm going to put a little line here to mark out my pre-market support. When the market's open, figure out what that's at. If we jump out to a weekly chart, the Qs still have room to go, way more than the SPY does, in my opinion. Let's measure this thing out back up to the EMAs. We've got about 2.4. If we jumped out here, maybe it's just an optical illusion. Nope, it's not. 0.73 back into those EMAs. So the SPY could run up. I do think that it will. The Qs, it does have more room to go, which might actually push the SPY up a little higher. But it's been, like I said, two big days in a row. I think that we probably do continue on the Qs and have a little bit more of a bullish move back up into like 369.50-ish is what I'm looking for, and then a roll back down. So that's what my idea on the markets could be. I would not be shocked to see us break this little high we've made and pull back today, and have a little bear day. Maybe we get bought up later on, but yeah, go from there. If it stays bullish, then play it into these EMAs. I think it should work out pretty well. All right. Anything you all have, we're going to continue to trade the 10 EMA strategy, but we're open this month to anything, whatever you would like. Slack, thanks for the like, man. My dad says HD and UPS. Let's check it out. H to the D. Decent gap on Home Depot. There's no doubt about it. We've got some pretty good resistance coming up into our face. So yeah, keep an eye on those lines there. Pretty much right where that alert's at. I feel like that's probably going to be best case scenario today. I mean, we do have some unfilled gaps up here, but that doesn't mean we need to fill them right now. We might still kind of roll back down some and then fill those later on, right? That's very much a possibility. So for a day trade, it might be up a little bit too much for me because 372.58 would have to be my target. That's where I'm getting out. So if you can get a risk reward to that, maybe a little pullback possibly could be fun. UPS. Wow, big gap on earnings on UPS. So my rule, any gap over 7% comes off my list. They just get too tough to trade. You have a lot of bears trapped, you have a lot of bulls getting in, and you have a lot of bulls very profitable. So it's like if you bought this yesterday and it went up 9% on a stock that really doesn't make that big of moves all that often. I mean, you get a few big gaps, but what happens after most of these gaps? Kind of bounce up, fade, and then a move a little higher. So it's possible this goes higher, but it's up 9%. Are bulls going to take their profits here? Are bears going to be so stuck on this, which I really don't think so. I feel like the bears are not going to be shocked by this because they should have already been out. If you're still in over earnings, then you're probably hedged. So that would be my take on it. It is fun to watch. Let's see what it does today. So we can add that to our list. But trading wise, I'm going to stay away from this because I feel like it might be very choppy. Doesn't have to be, but could really wake people out. All right. So those are my two on that one. Scott says you're in swings. You entered yesterday. You just want my thoughts. Let's see. DWAC is holding strong. I like the S curve. I could see why you get in on a break above that. It looks good. Yeah. Have your stop down here and let's see where it goes. I think that's a pretty decent swing trade for sure. 74.14. Yeah, that's pretty good. EXTN 5.18. This one is going to have a pullback soon, in my opinion. And it might pull back quite a bit. You have earnings coming up in March in about 30 days. Could this continue? Yeah, it could, but most likely it's not going to, short term at least. You've got so much resistance. It's up massive. If we jump out to a weekly chart, I mean, that's a weekly gap and go. That's very strong. There's no doubt about it. The weekly looks a lot better, but you're into a huge resistance. I mean, look how many times this thing's made a big move, massive move, the same amount of move, hits this area and then dies off. And so it's doing the exact same thing. It's done it twice now. Big move up, hit this area. Just my mind says probably fall off. This one, whenever stock moves up this much, do not let FOMO get you in. Your buying spot should have been probably down here range on that swing because your stop has to go down here. So if you put your stop here, you're not really bearish. So if it comes down and stops you out, it's probably just going to go bullish, right? So your stop needs to go down here. This is the spot where the bulls are wrong. I mean, they're still not even right yet. We haven't even gotten a close above the pivot zone yet. So for a weekly chart, we'll see how this week actually ended up closing, but next time you see something like this, and I'm not saying this isn't going to work, just be prepared for a pullback, and it might pull back farther than you want it to. So that one, it might be just a smidge high, in my personal opinion. BEV 4.18. And penny stocks are tough, my friends. Honestly, I feel like they're going to sucker you in, right? Everyone sees this. They go, wow, we're up 500,000%, 378% in like 2 days or 2 weeks. Boom, baby, let's go. It's going to go up. And I'm going to catch this. I'm going to catch this 500% move. Maybe, possibly. I don't know how consistent this is going to be because the only reason this thing is moving is from people pumping and dumping it. That's it. So let's see, what price did you get in on this one? 4.18. Oh, man. Could it go? Sure. But you're hoping for some manipulation to get it moving. To me, I don't know. You'd have to back trade that. For me, I look at that and go, would I want to buy after 300%? No. I feel like the move was down here. Like if you could have gotten in somewhere down here at like $2, even that's absurd, but get in somewhere down there, maybe see if this thing can continue to push to like 7. That's possible. So it's just not my style. That's what I'm saying. For me, like Jeremy says, they're out there, but he doesn't know anyone that's actually made millions from penny stocks. And if they are, then they're in jail because they pumped them. So, yeah, we'll see. Again, it's not my style. That doesn't mean it's not going to work. It doesn't mean that it can't work. It's just my personal experience and the people I've been around most of my life as well in trading world. Trying to play these things after a 300% move is you're late to the party. They're selling all their shares to you buying. Like they got in over here, right? They've been buying all of this stuff. They buy all of this since April. They've been buying. You see this little push in volume coming in around here. These are people buying this, knowing they're going to try to pump it. It's all manipulated. If a stock's under $5, it's barely hanging on by a thread. I mean, it should probably be out of business. They're hoping for some sort of lifeline. So they're buying this and they're buying millions and millions of shares. And you have to do that over a long period of time. You can't just press the buy button and get filled on a million shares when total there's 2 million shares traded in a day, right? So it takes a long time to accumulate that much shares. How in the heck are they able to get out in one day? Because they convince a whole bunch of people to buy it. So who are they? You can only buy it if there's someone there to sell it to you. You can only sell it if there's someone there to buy it to you. So if this thing starts to crash, who's buying it from you? So the spread can get really wide and say, well, I've got my stop there. A stop is just a market order, which means fill me at this price or any price down to 0. So your broker might actually fill you at 5 cents. Because if that's the next person that's buying, that's where you're going to get filled at. I'm like, well, my stop was here. It's at break even. How did I lose $10,000 on this trade? Well, you can only sell if there's someone there to buy it. It's not just this magic machine of I can put my stop here and that's what I'm going to get stopped out at. Your slippage is sometimes absurd. Now, will that happen? I don't know, but it can happen. And I've seen it happen. I personally know my friends that have lost $100,000 in one trade, and it was on AMD. He just started trading full time. His eyes lit up when he's like, I can double my account in 10 minutes. Let's go. Boom. He could not get filled on his way out. No one bought it from him. He finally got filled down and lost $100,000, blew up his account and done. So could it happen? Yes. I've personally witnessed it happen. Will it happen every time? Probably not. No. Just realize that's on the table. Your stop loss is simply you telling your broker to fill you at any price possible, just get you the freak out. So that could be at 3 cents. It all just depends on where the buyers are at. So most people that are buying these are not buying these when they dip down because they're too scared. They want to buy them after they go up 300%. And so you and a million other people are stuck up here. If this thing starts to go down, who's going to get their shares filled? So that's the funness with penny stocks. So just know what you're getting into. Again, doesn't mean you can't make money on them. It's just a dangerous game to play. And it's easy to be like, well, I don't have a lot of money in my, I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying this is what people always say. I don't have a lot of money in my trading account, so I'm just going to trade $2 stocks because then I can buy 10,000 shares instead of only buying 5 shares of Apple, right? First off, if you only have $2,000 in your trading account, you shouldn't be day trading anyways. It's not feasible. Find something else that's going to make you money. Day trading is, in my opinion, is one way to make money. I make the least amount of my money day trading. Learn options. You can leverage $500 on an option if you know what you're doing. You can also lose $500 on an option, right? If you don't know what you're doing. So Comes down to the big takeaway in the markets today. If you don't know what you're doing, do nothing until you know. Right? I feel like the market, 98% of the market are people that think they're smart enough and really have no idea what the frick they're doing. Again, I say this all the time. It has nothing to do with intelligence. Well, I'm a doctor. It's like, I'm smart enough to do this. It has nothing to do with intelligence. Trading is a skill. And until you could be the person with the highest IQ in the room, in the world, and you could still suck at trading. Why? Because they don't have the skill to know how to do it. Your brain is constantly going to get you to buy at the top and then sell at the bottom. Like, that's how it goes. And until you get the skill of figuring out how the markets work, what you're doing, how options are there, the best way to grow a small account is with options. But people, again, trade options without the knowledge of how options work. And then they get crushed and like, wow, I'm not touching options anymore. No, it's not because it's rigged. And then they make a mistake because clearly it can't be me. I'm the smartest person in the world. So it's the markets that are rigged. Oh, options are rigged. That's just a game designed by the rich to make the poor people more poor. Shut up. Quit making excuses, right? You don't know what the frick you're doing. So if you want to make a lot of money with a little bit of money, learn options, is my opinion. That'd be my 2 cents to you. Just be careful with penny stocks because you're hoping that this thing continues another 3,000%. Odds are it's not going to. Every time this thing goes, it goes. And so the fact that you've stalled out here kind of makes me pause. So just a little 2 cents. Oh, man. Dr. V says penny stocks, instead of buying, seek opportunities to short, sell, price spikes are temporary. Yes. It is easier said than done, right? Because if you're just like, I'll just buy a put, the IV on those puts are so large. It's like this, you shorting it when the stock is already at $1.50. So when it goes down to $1.50, you're barely at break even. You're like, how? It went down 200%. So implied volatility is going to absolutely screw you. And then shorting it is going to cost you a fortune if your broker will actually let you. Most brokers won't let you short these because they understand you're going to get destroyed when the thing does pop 300% randomly that one time, right? You're going to have $3,000 in your trading account. You're going to owe your broker 200 grand. There is no upside. There is no downside to that. Be careful. Again, make sure you got that. So Lex says, don't think I'm smart enough to understand options. Whatever you tell yourself is the truth. Let's leave it at that. Whatever you tell yourself is the truth. But DZB, I do understand what you're saying. The mentality is correct. Shorting those are usually the best way to make money on them. You just need to be very experienced. You need to know what you're getting yourself into, and you need to know how to do this. And then you also need to know how to take a loss because you're going to get crushed on a lot of those shorts. So just know the risk. The theme of the day today. Just know what you're doing before you do it. Don't assume you're smart enough to figure this out. If you're willing just to gamble, if you can't explain why you're doing what you're doing and perfectly explain what the risks are, you're gonna have a really fun time. Hold on just a second here. Hold on one second. Take a look at AMD real fast. Jump back into this. Got me on some rant. There we go. AMD is gapping up, but earnings are after close. So be careful. That's going to trade a little bit more volatility into the stock. Let's see. Let me get back to these guys. Sorry, I'm getting caught back up in the chat pane. Juan says, do you mostly buy or sell options? I do both. I mostly sell options. Mostly sell options. I feel like that's the best way to go. Okay. AIAD. Man, if this is a penny stock, there's a penny stock. Again, I am not the penny stock guy. So can I take a look? I don't know what this thing's going to do. It doesn't trade logically. Normal stocks don't go up 1,000%, right? Like, I don't know how that's been, but if you're playing this game, you're being played. That's all I have to say. If you're playing this game, you're the one being played. Someone else is making money off of hoping to lure people in after a big move. If you actually understand how penny stocks work, like the community makes you feel like I'm helping you. You're doing this and we're going to do this together. And guess what? We're about to pump this. Okay, really? Tell me when you started buying this stock and why didn't you tell us to buy it back then also? Just ask them that question and you'll never get a response because they've been buying this crap down here for months and months and months and months without saying anything. And then all of a sudden, when it's about that time, you go, okay, all right, yeah, community, let's do this. We're all going to make so much money. No, what they're doing is they need 1 million people to sell to. The only way they can get the heck out of all of their shares is to get a ton of people excited to buy it from them. And so they're taking profits the entire way up when everyone else is getting in on the entire way up. And then you get screwed. It's illegal and they all end up going to jail eventually. So stay away from penny stocks. It's, again, you're being manipulated. Just think about that. You're being manipulated. You're being used to make someone else rich. In the meantime, there's a chance you could get rich, but most likely you're getting hosed. They're the ones selling to you. Any good spread setups with earnings nearby? I like to see. I don't sell I guess just caveat that. I only sell options if I actually plan on wanting to own these or actually own a position in I want to hedge. Other than that, I don't just sell over earnings to bring in premium. So I don't actually do a lot of selling over earnings. It's contrary to what people think, right? You just sell because IV is really high. It's like, well, yes, but I only do it if I actually want this. So I'll sell a put over earnings. I do that all the time, but only in locations and the size that I actually want to buy. So some good stuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for Amazon to have earnings here. I think it's in a couple days. I cannot wait to see which direction it goes. And then, yes, I'll be selling options against that. Totally. If we can gap down, it would be the greatest moment of my life. I'm going to make so much money, not because I'm in puts, but because I can now use this to sell. Fear is going to be there. And when fear is there after earnings, boom, I can make a lot of money and capitalize on selling options. Not only that, but buying some options down here. Little 2 cents. If you guys want Amazon, 2,500 and lower, that's the time to buy some long-term Amazon, some shares. If you're going to buy options with this, don't go way out of the money and don't go 1 month out. You need to give yourself some time. But I'm really excited about that. Made a lot of money on Netflix earnings. Same thing. Big gap down, sold options, made a lot of money off of that. And now I bought some. Let's check out Netflix. How's Netflix doing? Are we going up still? Oh, yeah. So we bought some here, right there. And then we held a little bit and then rampaging back up higher. I bought one leap up here. I had that hedged over earnings, made tons of money on that. And then that's why you hedge. Always hedge over earnings. Because if I didn't hedge, I would have lost that leap. I wasn't in super heavy, but hedge over earnings. That hedge made me a lot of money. Get out of the hedge. I keep that. I buy more down here. And now I'm already pretty much in the green. So If it can get up to here, I'm going to sell a call and it'll lock in a profit where I can't lose on this trade. And I'm in this trade for like 2 years. It's a 2-year long leap. So I have a free trade that can 3 times itself over the next year or two. It's not a bad place to be in, right? And I've already locked in a guaranteed win, and I've only been in this trade for maybe a month. So, yeah, again, a few ways to play those. Let's see. Going over anything else. Markets are about to open. So let me answer a few more questions, then I'm going to bounce out. Just as I need to follow your option plays. Come join us at Real Life Trading, my friend, if you're not already. I feel like I've seen you around somewhere, maybe in the free week, but yeah, come check us out. Really appreciate your analysis. I do have a very small size on penny stocks. Day trading is something I would love to do, but I'm under the pattern day trading rule and find I'm stopped out on swings even. Yeah, Scott, I would just keep building your knowledge. Keep building your knowledge. Honestly, day trading is probably one of the most advanced things you can do, but it's what every beginner wants to start with. That's a tough predicament, right? It requires you to have the best understanding of price action and make the decisions the fastest and control your emotions the quickest. Because most of the time in a swing trade, you have days to kind of work through your emotions and figure out what you want to do. In a day trade, you have seconds. And that's what causes even more emotions, and more emotions cause you to make dumb decisions. Not you, all of us, me included, right? So I says, thanks for the vids. Heard you talk about opening before yesterday's high makes it tradable. Is that the 10 EMA, and does it work in the opposite? Yes, it does. Yep. Oh, it works as well on the low. Yep. Yep, you can change your account to a cash account. There are some limitations with that too, is that you have to wait for them to send your money back. So when you buy something, your money might be gone for a couple of days, and then they send it back to you. It's not like you get your money right when you close out of the trade. And a few of your option plays, buying options, you're fine. Selling options, they won't let you do unless you usually have a margin account. So it limits you a little bit, but yes, it definitely is a way around the pattern day trading rule. Learn options, my friends. The only limits are the ones you put on yourself. So if you say you can't do it, you won't do it. If you say you can, you will. I have 85-year-old ladies that are killing the stock market that were scared to learn options. I have my 13-year-old nephew who's learning options. Anyone can do it, my friends. It's really not that hard. Invest in yourself, spend the money instead of trying to do it on your own by watching some YouTube videos, which is definitely doable. I mean, that's how I learned options, but it took me a long time and I lost a lot of money thinking that I knew what I was doing. But invest in some coaching from someone that knows what they're doing. And a 1-hour session isn't going to make you a millionaire. It's not. My friends, it's college tuition. It's just like saying, I want to be a doctor in 3 weeks. Who can make me a doctor in 3 weeks? It's not going to happen. It's 15 years of your life, man. There's no shortcuts. Trading is the exact same way. It's probably going to be years of your life trying to learn how to do this. So it's not a get rich quick. And that's where people struggle for sure. All right, my friends, YouTube, thanks for hanging out. That was fun. Thanks for getting me on some rants. I always enjoy it. Enjoy the rest of your day. Real quick, Snap. I'll look at this real fast. Snap, good gap. It's up 6%. So it's just under my range. It's a retest gap. Let this thing pull back down. My buy is probably around 32-ish is where I'd be looking for an entry. But yeah, stay long. It looks good. Cool. YouTube, have a great day.